You are listening to WKID 96.7 FM, the world's only kid-owned and operated FM radio station. Time for our third and final interview of our spring break kickoff for 2011 with WKID. It's yours truly, Mr. Christopher Beasley. I got the funniest man on a low-powered FM transmitter. And the Alpha Dog. Okay, and the Alpha Dog.
You got your boy A-Dog in the house.
All right, guys. I'm excited for this one. I met her back at an event we did, the SYA benefit event. That was in the winter, which seems like such a long time ago when you're enjoying this weather, right?
It does.
All right. So what I remember about her is that she is one of the world's youngest novelists. Now, I can't even imagine me writing a book bigger than, my lunch plate at such a young age. All right, so without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, Miss Gloria Tesch. How are you doing?
Hi.
Hi.
I'm doing good.
Good. Enjoying your spring break?
Pretty much. Just started.
That's good, yeah. Well, hopefully you do have a lot of plans to, enjoy yourself during spring break.
Yeah. I mean, usually all my spring breaks I was mostly writing, so now I can actually maybe take a break this time.
Yeah, I think that's nice. And, of course, we like to have fun here at WKID, so hopefully you're enjoying the moment with us.
Yeah, it's a pleasure to be here with you guys.
All right, we will go ahead and get things started. I know you guys were long, patiently waiting. So, when you were younger, what did you aspire to become and how did you want to get there?
I started writing my books when I was 10 years old. I began writing in 6th grade in creative writing class. And during that time, I wasn't so much into writing at all. I was looking forward to be an artist or, something in that field. And in creative writing class, my teacher gave the class a free write essay. So, I was just like, okay, an essay. So I began writing. And then all of a sudden, I began to fill more and more pages of a story that I was finally developing. And about 150 pages or so, I did not know what to write about anymore. And I came to what a lot of authors know as is writer's block. So I put my journal aside and, just did my thing. I was 10 years old, just playing outside. And after a while, my mother came across it one day and began looking through it. My family didn't know that I was writing at that time. So my mom showed the journal to my dad, and he looked at it. He's like, wow, this could be something bigger, like an actual book. And so my dad built up a whole concept, and then it was so much easier to write. My mother suggested pictures for my book. She was like, oh, I can paint this picture for that chapter. My brother gave me also a lot of ideas. I mean, my family is my support team, and without my family, I don't know if I'd be here right now.
So, I don't know, when did you start realizing that, I don't know, basically that you're becoming a novelist and, it was an option in your life?
Well, I mean, I never really took being a novelist seriously. Like, I first started with writing, I had people coming in asking, let's do an interview, you're writing a book and all that, and people in my class in middle school were making fun of me that they were like, oh, you're writing a book, you're not going to make it,
Oh, what did they have planned in
Yeah,
life?
I know.
Nothing.
Did you try doing other things before writing, like sports or,
I mean, before I began involved in writing, I was always involved in doing art, different music, usually in that field. I wasn't so much in math and any of that.
When you were re-invited to the, the really long, story that you had by your mom, like, how long did it take for you to actually sit down and mold the idea that you had for it?
After my whole family came together and sat together, I got so many ideas. My mother painted all these illustrations, and I was just blown away by how big this project could actually be. I'm getting investors coming in. They gave me, different ideas of how big this project could actually be. There would be, different products, T-shirts, all that. And I began saying that as a novelist, I could be something big,
Mm-hmm. Now, have you experienced with any other types of writing?
I mean, mainly I concentrate my writing on fiction fantasy. I mean, I'm good trying to concentrate on the Maradonia series because a problem is a lot of authors, they're working on one series or one subject, and then afterwards they start writing a totally different thing. And that other book or story would lose its interest and it wouldn't be as good as what they originally came up with. So I'm just sticking with fiction fantasy writing in the land of Maradonia.
Is there any, writers that inspired you to, write more and more and stuff like that?
I mean, not mainly just writers in general. I was reading more Greek and Roman mythology, which there a lot of philosophers were working into, and, you know, different writers from the olden times. I mean, I like different authors like Stephanie Meyer. I always read the Treehouse books.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, those are the best.
Those really inspired me when I was a kid. So, you know, I mean, there's just different books. Go to your library.
You are from San Diego, correct?
Yes, I am.
How did you end up out there? I mean, it's a beautiful city. That's where I used to live for 3 years. I loved it. It's a beautiful city, but how'd you end up there?
Oh, I mean, I was born in San Diego. I had no choice.
Well, but, like, your parents, like, did they, like, travel a lot because of business, or did they just love traveling?
I mean, my dad traveled around the world. He was an evangelist. You know, I guess he really liked San Diego because that's where we ended up.
Yeah, it's a beautiful city.
So how'd you end up down here right now?
Yeah.
I mean, after living in San Diego for about 7 years.
It got boring.
Yeah, so then we hit up Miami Beach. So.
Nice. So amongst all that traveling that you've done, has it inspired you, or has it, you know, shaped the way you look at life to help, you know, you create this book?
Everywhere you go, it's like an inspiration. You see different things, different people. It can inspire you.
Now, you said you were in art. Do you think you can sometime do both? Art and writing?
Actually, when I first began writing, I wanted to start off with writing very short stories and painting the illustrations myself. I mean, when I saw my mother's art compared to mine, it was just out of the world, so I was just like, nah. I'd rather just stick to writing.
So she decided to do art for a career, and you're going with writing?
Yeah, we're like we're a team together.
Yeah.
You know, two great people working together, you get really good ideas, and it works out. Teamwork.
How long did you plan for your first novel to be, and why did you start so young of an age?
Why wait?
Yeah,
you know, like a lot of people, they go to school, they don't really know what they want to do in life. I mean, at that time, I knew that I wanted to be an author. I wanted to write, so that's when I started.
And how long did you plan for this, you know, the whole series of novels to be? And have you already thought about, you know, other ideas for, you know, expansions or books?
When I first started, I concentrated on just one book. I didn't think I was going to write 7 books or have a whole series. It just came up after the first book. It basically built a foundation. After each story, you know, there was just so many stories that traveled through my mind, and I wanted to write it all out. And that's how each book began. And, like, when I read my books, when I write my books, I see the story coming to motion like a film. Like, I see real pictures. Mm-hmm. Wow. You know? Yeah,
that's definitely that's really cool about reading, is that you see the picture in your head.
Right.
I really enjoy that aspect about it.
Yeah.
Sometimes I think, you know, I'm actually really there, but then I stop reading the book and I'm like, whoa, I'm actually in real life now.
Of course.
It's like you live in the world.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, in my hands, I have the flyer to an expansion project she has for the book. We're going to talk a little bit about that, along with some other things that you will also hear after the break. Lady Gaga, Born This Way. Make sure you guys stay tuned. If you want to call her up to ask a question, 727-216-6521, or just email your questions to WKID967@yahoo.com. All right, guys. Born This Way. Lady Gaga, WKID. Back after the break. WKID 96.7. Thanks for returning with us. We're still here with Gloria Tesch, still with ConsCon, still with A-Dog, and we are still celebrating spring break with the last of the 3 big interviews we got today. So when we went to break, we pretty much talked about the beginnings of her novel. Now I want to switch it up a little bit. This is pretty interesting. I don't think a lot of people know that you do model, actually.
Well, I do actually model.
How's that?
Well, I mean, it's a completely different thing from writing. Mm-hmm. I believe modeling is a way for me to take some time away from my writing, you know, to actually take a break. You know, I feel it more as, you know, just relaxing.
So how do you compare modeling to writing?
Writing is more of stories. You know, you really have to live in the world of writing. Modeling is just, you know, you pose for a picture here, pose for one there. You know, I mean, it's just different things.
You're doing modeling, writing, going to school, and maybe drawing? Maybe?
Drawing. I try to keep everything balanced, you know, writing my books and, you know, high school and all that. I feel like almost like I live 2 different lives. One is writing and, having this big responsibility on me as, one of the world's youngest novelists. And then the other one is, almost forget that I'm a writer and I go to school and, have a normal life. Sort of how, like, Superman has two different lives.
Yeah.
Both Spider-Man.
So, for people who don't know, how many pages do you like to?
I write everything I write out. I just write it all out until I ran out of ideas. And usually it ends. I had 3 novels, originally 800 pages, and what I decided to do was I divided each book into 400 pages. So now I have 6 novels. So
how long on average does it take to come up with the ideas and then of course write it out?
Well, each book is a process. My first novel took me the longest. It took me 3 years to write it. Writing and getting published. It was basically the whole foundation with the first book. But each book after that took me about a year, usually.
Where do you see yourself in the future,
I'm going to keep writing until, my imagination runs out, which, I don't see coming very soon. I'll just take life the way it goes. Everything happens for a reason.
Now, how were you presented with the chance to, publish your books?
Well, in the beginning of my writing career, which was my first book, I sent out so many letters to different publishers, and, like a lot of authors, you got, no, we can't have this, we're too many people are sending in this stuff.
Yeah, now do you think it was because, your age that people were like, kind of iffy?
Yeah, I really think that, it's also with age included. People say, oh, how is a 10-year-old girl going to publish an actually good novel?
I'm actually holding the latest copy of her book, Maradonia and the Law of Blood. Once you just open it, you see within, the visual appeal come out. You see, of course, the text style, and then you see, the whole... Actually, you know what? That's really interesting. Wow. Talk about how you mapped out Maradonia. It actually kind of reminds me of Eastern Europe.
Well, a lot of people come up with that. A lot of people ask me, is Maradonia like a real place? It's not. I came up with it, all of a foundation. I think a map for your books really helps you write out what you want to write. Like, sometimes before I had a map, I was confused of like where the characters would go. So I began drawing out this outline and started lining up the dots of where the characters would go, and that's how the concept of creating the map came up.
You'll be talking about, actually you'll be reading an excerpt from the book shortly, but until then, I do see that you do have 2 more novels that are left to be written. Can you give any type of like preview or any like a cliffhanger to talk about the Battle for the Key and then The Lost Secret?
The Battle for the Key is now in works. It's going through editing changes. In the first book, Joey, he takes the key to the underworld, and this begins like a whole dilemma in the underworld, and they need their key because they can't go back into the underworld. And this begins the whole battle for the key, and it's the battle between light and darkness, good and evil. And those are battles that we could see almost every day, good and evil, and choices.
Oh, okay. So we will actually take an interesting break. This might be a first for us. An excerpt from Maradonia and the Law of Blood by Gloria Tesch. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right, take it away. Wow. I'm left to find out what happens. Wow, guys, make sure you check that book out. That one little piece has that was a barrage of senses and then emotions and actions, and it was all there. I was amazed.
Yeah, and where did you come up with everybody's name? Did you ask your friends, what's a weird name, or what's the name I should add in the book?
The name was is a hard process for me because I was usually used to all these simple names, Ashley, all those simple names. But reading Greek and Roman mythology kind of sparked up, these interesting names that people haven't really heard before here.
Now, in addition to the book, you have a movie coming out.
Yes, the movie.
Wow, talk about the movie.
Well, the movie is a long process. I mean, I have different people coming in, all these actors auditioning. I have all these locations coming in. And, you know, it's really interesting to see when you're watching the auditions that people who can actually play the characters that you made up with from your mind, like you see them come up to real life. What happened once was I was at home writing, and one day one of, the family friends, he came up to the doorbell. I did not know this at all. He came up and he was dressed as King Apollyon, one of the main characters from my book. And when I opened the door, I screamed so loud, like I saw my real character come up to my front door. And, I was just so excited from it. It was, it's an amazing feeling.
Yeah. How did you get the chance to, make a movie? And did you ever expect to make a movie out of the book?
I mean, as I said, when I started writing, I never thought any of this would happen. The Lord plans things out for me. Everything happens for a reason, and I'm really glad that this is what's happening.
Yeah. Now, do you plan this to be a movie theater hit, a DVD, educational? Were you are you guys done filming?
Oh no,
completely?
We're not done filming at all. We're in pre-production still.
Mm-hmm.
We're getting a couple of more auditions coming in. Some of the characters are not really set in yet. As far as this movie goes, it's, all up to what people we come in, who invests,
Now, why do you choose writing to get across your message, and what message would you like to send out?
Through writing, I feel that my power comes through my pen. I mean, what I would like to say to other people is, if you're a young writer, you have to know what you're going to do in life. And if you find that out, you should put all your power into it. I have a saying which I tell people all the time. Whatever you do it with all your might. Work on it early and late, hour after hour. Then you will succeed. Every time I felt stressed out, drained out on my computer, and I had no idea what to write about, I looked up to that saying on my wall, and, that got me motivated again.
Do you have any other, hobbies you do,
I do some music. I listen to music, too. Just different things. Going to the beach and stuff like that usually helps out.
Now, you said something interesting. You said you do music.
I would not really, produce my own music.
Do you play an instrument?
Yeah, I play the bells, actually. It's similar to the piano. It's like a xylophone.
Oh, okay. But when you hit the key, it's a bell.
Yes.
Ah, that's interesting.
I made up my own beats sometimes, different tunes.
Can you play, classical pieces with the bells, like you would play on a piano?
Yes, it's very similar to the piano. I can play for Elise, different Beethoven.
Moonlight
pieces.
Sonata.
Yes.
Ave Maria?
No, I haven't done that one yet.
Ah, okay. That's another one of my favorite classical
Linkin Park.
pieces.
Go out and give us your website so they can purchase your book. And you have a lot sold out. Will there be more coming in?
Yes, there'll be more coming in. We have, especially the first book, we have a lot of changes coming and a lot of editing. To find out more information, you can go on Maradonia.com. Maradonia, and you could just see more information.
So as you're into the writing, would you consider being a writer your dream job, or did you want to be an astronaut or something?
Writing is where I see that I come out the most in. I bring myself the most out. So I can't really see myself doing anything else than that. So I'm just pushing forward with that.
Our last question is there any advice that you would like to give to our listeners that, either aspire to become a writer or, just any advice out there?
If any of you know what you're going to do in life, you should put all your power into it, because later in life you will benefit from it, and you'll be glad you did it. Try to reach your goals and go on a successful future. Of course, reading is one of the main things which really expands your mind. I have a saying which I tell people all the time. Today a reader, tomorrow a leader. Mm-hmm. So get those books from the library.
Definitely. Well,
I mean mine.
And yours too. Of course, yeah. Make sure you guys check out the Maradonia series in your local library. Mm-hmm. All right. Are you in Walden Books too, or Books A Million too, or?
We're not in all bookstores yet because we only printed out a small edition for the first. But sooner or later it will be.
We thank Gloria Tesch for coming by, reading from her novel, and of course, providing a bit of insight into who exactly one of the world's youngest novelists are. I know A-Dog's nipping at trying to do this. That stuns me over and over. Take it away, Adam.
Call in, folks, 727-216-6521 if you have any questions or, you just want to give a shout out or anything. 727-216-6521. Email us. Tell us, how we did, or like I said, you have any questions, email us WKID967@yahoo.com. Yet again, WKID967@yahoo.com. And definitely go on our website, go to our View Live page. You'll see we have a globe. We are now over 1,000 on the globe.
Also, make sure you check us out. If you want another friend on Facebook, make sure you add us, WKID Kids. And if you want a fan page for that nice info tab on your Facebook, WKID 96.7 FM. We love to tweet, so make sure you check us out on Twitter, WKID 967 FM. And that will actually take care of it. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for staying around with us with Gloria Tesch